Welcome back to another great episode of Tommy Maroon Sports Show on this wonderful Tuesday. First, as always, the Cleveland Guardians because, well, the season's heating up. Push for the playoffs, which is led by that guy right there, Andres Jimenez, number 0. Guardians currently sit in first place in the AL Central. Despite being in the weakest division in the game, it's still a good thing that they're leading it. And are 3 games ahead the Chi Sox for the division, and 5 games ahead the Twins for the division. And if the Guards were not winning the division, let's look. Heading into yesterday, they would be 4.5 games out of the wild card, but obviously things have changed. Looking at it, they would be 74 and 65. They'd be 4 games out. Of course, they are a game and a half better than Baltimore. And the magic number for the, playoffs. Let me search. But anyways, the magic number to clinch as of yesterday was 21, so I'm assuming it's now 20. Yes, it is 20. They're 29 and 29 against teams that are 500 or better. They're the 6th best team in the AL. It's going to come down to the wire to see if the Guardians are going to win the Central, and let's hope it happens. Series recaps: Guardians against the Royals. Cleveland won it 2-1. Jose had a 2-run single in Game 2. Shane Bieber had 8 innings of 1-run ball in Game 2. And then Emmanuel Clase blew the save and lost the Game 3. All thanks to a sac fly, thanks to a walk-off sac fly, I should say, by Salvador Perez. And then in a critical and crucial series to the Minnesota Twins.
Looks like it's sweeping time. Gotta sweep.
That's right. The Guardians swept the Twins in 3 games. They almost blew a 7-run lead in Game 1, and Oscar Gonzalez in Game 1 hit not 1, but 2 home runs. He had a great game. And there's Josh Naylor to the plate, getting one into left center field. That scored 1 run. Oscar Gonzalez a little later on homered that inning. And then the Guardians nearly blew a 6-run lead in the second game. Forgot to mention, but in this game right here, James Karinchak had his hair checked out by the home plate umpire to see if he was using a substance to doctor the baseball, even though he was not. It was still very weird to see. And Ahmed had a 2-run bomb in Game 2. Shane Bieber, 6.1 innings, 7 strikeouts in Game 3. And Andres Jimenez home run in Game 3. There's Oscar Gonzalez doing Oscar Gonzalez things, i.e. hit a home run. And then last night, Terry Francona got ejected. He was really saying some not nice things to the umpire. But you know what? The Guardians still won it 5-4. Both umpires, Phil Nevin and Tito, got ejected from the ballgame. Austin Hedges had 2 RBIs for the Guardians. And Ahmed Rosario had the go-ahead double. And Emmanuel Clase picked up the save, his 34th of the season, last night. And while the home plate umpire did leave because of the fact that he was hurt off a foul ball. Very weird. So anyway, it's time to look at NASCAR because we can. And of course, don't have a video this time, but we do have a picture of it. And in it, it's not the Cookout Southern, I beg your pardon, it is the Hollywood Casino 400. The winner was Bubba Wallace for the second time in his career, and for the first time this season. I believe he's the 18th driver to win this season, which really goes to show you how crazy this season truly has been. Christopher Bell, stage 1. Denny Hamlin finished in 2nd. Alex Bowman, stage 2. Christopher Bell, 3rd. Top 3 drivers were Toyotas. Great day for 23XI Racing, may I say, because they had the top 2 drivers. Kevin Harvick caused a caution on 34th lap. Tyler Reddick's tire failed 32 laps later. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. hit the wall on lap 110. Shortly after, there was a big crash involving several drivers. Kyle Busch went to the grass midway through the race. It was a fun and somewhat chaotic race in Kansas. I want to see if another driver is going to play spoiler because Bubba was not in the playoffs, and he is still not in the playoffs. We'll see if someone else can play spoiler next week. Now it's time for Tommy's picks. Look at the recap right there. Starting off with high school football, Avon scored 21 unanswered to beat Avon Lake 42-21 at Avon Lake in what I thought was an upset. Highland, the good guys, scored 20 unanswered in the second half to escape with a 27-7 win over the Talmadge Blue Devils. St. Ignatius took down Euclid with ease, 38-0. Euclid is now riding a 15-game losing streak. Hopefully they can pick up a win sometime soon. Nordonia took care of business against North Royalton at Bullion Stadium, 37-14. And then Austintown Fitch took down Ursuline, 42-34. You guys at Artwright Stadium, Wadsworth blanked Brecksville, 56-0 as the Bees off to a rough and rocky 0-4 start. Padua Franciscan picks up their first win of the season with a 42-35 win over Sandusky at Sandusky. Perry beats McKinley 38-28. McKinley off to a rough 0-4 start, very out of character for the Bulldogs. The Lake Blue Streaks starting off 4-0 now as they take down Glen Oak 27-20. Green escapes against Jackson 29-28. North Olmsted goes on the road and beats Buckeye 40-28. Westlake took down Parma 49-7. Medina beat the tar out of Stone Monroe Falls 55-21. Solon shut out Strongsville 10-0. North Ridgeville took care of things against Amherst Steel with a 34-3 victory. And Hudson with a runaway 31-13 win over Twinsburg. And big news, perhaps the biggest game of them all, Chardon's winning streak is over. They are over, or it is over. I think it was at 31, I think. Let me check. Yeah, it was at 31. Riverside at home. I didn't think that game was going to be a competition, but in the end, it's a victory for Riverside, upsetting Chardon 21-7. At home, huge win, perhaps their biggest win in a long time. That's going to boost up that school's confidence. You can sure bet that. And they might be the team to look out for in Division II, Region 5, which is very loaded up. We'll get to the region in-depth breakdowns later. College football, Kansas State beat Missouri 40-12. Alabama escapes against Texas 20-19 thanks to a calm and cool Bryce Young game-winning drive. And then Notre Dame lost to Marshall. The season's over. I think we just set a record for the quickest the season has ever been over. Ever. 2 weeks and it's over. Losing to Ohio State's one thing, losing to Marshall. How do you lose to Marshall? Oh my goodness, of course Notre Dame loses. I can't believe it. I'm so sad about that. Fire Freeman. I tried to get Fire Freeman trending on Twitter. Oh man. Tennessee beat Pitt 34-27 in overtime. Washington State beat Wisconsin 17-14 in a big upset there. Speaking of upsets, Appalachian State doing Appalachian State things out at Kyle Field. Home of the 12th man. That didn't mean anything to them because they beat Texas A&M. How about that? What a great day Saturday was in the Sun Belt. Michigan State blanked Akron 52-0. Texas Tech escaped with a 33-30 win at Jones AT&T Field in double overtime over number 25 Houston. Western Kentucky beat Bowling Green 59-57 in 7 overtimes. Of course, the new overtime rules state that Starting third overtime and forward, it's just 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, almost as if it's like a shootout in hockey. But anyways, Kansas won in overtime 55-42 thanks to a walk-off pick six when West Virginia tried to answer back. Kentucky took down Florida in the Swamp 26-16. Oklahoma State beat Arizona State 34-17. USC beat Stanford 41-28. And then in overtime, BYU walked it off against Baylor 26-20. And Hail State, Mississippi State 39, Arizona 17. Then the NFL. Thursday night, it was Bills against the Rams. Rams received their rings and got completely pounded in the second half, allowing 21 straight to the Bills and losing 31-10. And the Falcons blew another lead again. Oh my goodness, another lead. I mean, it's always happening to the Falcons. A 26-10 lead goes away, and they lose to the Saints 27-26. And Cade York. I texted my friends, Cade York. 16 fantasy points, including a 58-yard kick that I knew was going to go in. You just had a gut feeling that was going to go in if the Browns crossed midfield. And the Browns win. 26-24. Pick up that first Week 1 victory in 18 years over Baker Mayfield. In your face, Baker. And meanwhile, at a sloppy and slippery Soldier Field, the Sea Bears beat the 49ers 19-10. And the Steelers beat the Bengals, who might be going through a Super Bowl hangover, who may have peaked already, 23-20 in a walk-off field goal in overtime. And then the Eagles beat the loser Lions 38-35. We had a tie again. Oh my gosh. In the words of one of my favorite Twitter accounts, why do you play 70 minutes of football all just to tie it? They don't do that in the playoffs, you know. Good Lord. 20-20. Colts scored 17 unanswered and still couldn't get the win. Neither could the Texans. It was a Free Willy winner, 20-7. The Ravens beat the Jets, sucks, 24-9. The Commies beat Sucksonville, 28-22. And the Giants beat the Titans. Derrick Henry. My goodness. How did Derrick Henry play so poorly? Good Lord, 21-20. Chiefs dismantled the Cardinals, 44-21. Chargers beat the Raiders, 24-19. Vikings beat the Packers, 23-7. Buccaneers won 19-3. And the Broncos lost 17-16 in front of an angry crowd at, where do you call it, Lumen Field. Why were they so mad? Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl with them. He won a Super Bowl with them. I don't think he wanted out of Seattle anyways. He seems to be a good guy. Why did they want to boo him and stuff? Oh, well, they get their wish because, you know, Seattle won. In high school football, went 12-4, 13 points. Got the lock correct, but Ursula in my upset was wrong. St. Ignatius was my lock, by the way. And I got my lock and upset correct in college football, even though I won 8-6. And in a crazy week of the NFL, as always, 8-7-1 with 8 points. I did not pick an upset or a lock. Now time for Tommy's picks. High school football kicks things off. And as you might expect, there are a lot of big games. In my top 25, there are 4 of them. There are 4 matchups against top 25 schools this week. Perhaps the biggest one being Archbishop Hoban against St. Ignatius, where I'm picking the Knights to win. And then Massillon, Washington, going to be playing at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium against St. Ed's. I think that the Eagles will pick up a win. Wadsworth at Art Wright against Hudson. I'm picking the Explorers, even though Wadsworth has been having a great season to my surprise. They're doing really well. And then North Ridgeville, 4-0 against Olmsted Falls, 3-1. Olmsted Falls almost beat Chardon, so I think Olmsted Falls can pick up the win here. And then after that, you got Brunswick against Mentor in Greater Cleveland Conference action. And in my opinion, I think Brunswick's going to pull off the upset at Brunswick Automark Stadium. And Ordonia is my lock of the week against Twinsburg. Barberton against number 10 Highland. That's right, we're moving on up from 14 to 10. I'm picking the good guys to start off 5-0 for the first time since 2017. Number 15, Medina against Strongsville. I'm picking Medina. Medina's been doing a good job. They found someone to fill in Drew Hour's shoes. Call me impressed. Cheney against Campfield, 2 unbeatens. I'm picking Cheney. Chardon against Mayfield. Chardon's got to bounce back. I think that the Hilltoppers win. Riverside against Madison, the school that beat the Hilltoppers. I'm picking the Beavers. Lakeside against Perry. I'm picking the Dragons. St. Vincent, St. Mary against Sandusky. I'm picking St. V, St. M. And then Aurora against Cuyahoga Falls in some American Conference action, picking Aurora. Buckeye against Valley Forge, picking Buckeye. Bay against Westlake, picking Westlake. And of course, Solon is joining the Suburban League. You know what they say, there's always room for more. That will make it 16 schools in the Suburban League. How about that? I don't know if it's going to be next year or the year after that. Let me see. Sorry about this, folks. 2023-24, so it will be in effect next year. They will be in the National Conference, so we will not be playing Solon, but you guys will be playing Solon Wadsworth. College football. Nebraska against Oklahoma, picking Oklahoma. Notre Dame against Cal. I would pick Notre Dame, but good God, we played terrible against Marshall, and I think Cal's going to win because Notre Dame fans can't have anything good in life. Oregon against BYU at Autzen Stadium. I'm picking Oregon to win that. Auburn against Penn State at Jordan-Hare, picking Penn State. South Carolina against Georgia, lock of the week. Even though it's at Williams-Brice, I'm still picking the Bulldogs. They have steamrolled their first 2 opponents this season. LSU against Mississippi State, I'm picking the Bulldogs. And then NC State against Texas Tech, picking NC State. Washington against Michigan State. Here's another upset. Huskies win. Iowa against Nevada, picking Nevada. Texas A&M against Miami. Texas A&M's got to bounce back. I'm picking the Aggies. Houston against Kansas. I'm just saying Kansas is 2-0 start off the season, maybe 3-0. Jayhawks win. Wisconsin against New Mexico State. The Badgers got to bounce back. I'm picking them. Georgia Tech against Ole Miss. I'm picking the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And then Iowa State against Ohio, picking Iowa State. And then the NFL. The Chiefs against the Chargers. 2 high-octane offenses duking at it. I'm picking Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Ravens play Free Willy. I think it's going to be a Free Willy winner. And then the Browns against the Jets. Suck. You know who I'm picking? I'm picking the Browns to do it again. That's right. Cade York is going to drill another deep field goal and make my fantasy team good. And hopefully my fantasy team will win this week because it did not win last week. But hey, last year I started off 0-2 and I started off 0-3 and I still won the whole darn thing. I don't mean to brag, but I did. But anyways, Lions against the Commies. I think Carson Wentz is going to lead the Commies to a victory. Sucksonville against the Colts. The Colts have to beat Sucksonville. Of course, they didn't last year. And that cost them a playoff spot. I'm picking the Colts. Matt Ryan should lead them to a win. Saints against the Buccaneers. My upset of the week are the Saints because the Saints own Tom Brady. And Tom Brady played a little sloppy last week against the Cowboys. So after that, it's the Giants against the Panthers and Baker Mayfield. I'm picking the Giants. Steelers against the Patriots. My mom made a great point. You can give Mike Tomlin the worst team ever, and he'd still make that team compete. Now, he may not take them to the playoffs. He's had seasons in which he hasn't gone to the playoffs. But he would make them competitive. He's making Mitchell Trubisky look competitive. He just beat the Bengals. He made Joe Burrow throw 4 picks. I'm picking the
Tito of the NFL.
Yes, exactly. He is Tito of the NFL. He makes something out of nothing. That's what I say. He makes something out of nothing. Just like Terry Francona has had nothing over the last decade and has made the Guardians competitive over the last 9 years. And right when you think they're left for dead, they're not. I'm picking the Steelers. Rams against the Falcons. Rams are going to bounce back. 49ers against the Seahawks. Picking the Seahawks because clearly Trey Lance is not the answer. Cowboys against the Bengals. With Dak Prescott hurt, I'm picking the Bengals. Broncos against the Texans. Russell Wilson will pick up his first win as a Bronco on Sunday. Raiders against the Cardinals. Picking the Raiders. Packers play the Sea Bears on Sunday night. I'm picking the Packers. Bills against the Titans. My lock of the week, the Bills, because the Titans lost to the Giants, for God's sake. The Giants! Eagles against Vikings. I am picking the Philadelphia Eagles, but that should be a good game and a good high-scoring contest. Anyways, it's time to look at the region, preferably Division 1, Region 1, because we're in Northeast Ohio. Right now, St. Ed's is the only one with double digits, 12.6276 according to the official OHSAA rankings that dropped today. St. Ignatius is second. After that, it's Cleveland Heights, then Medina, Wadsworth, Berea Mid-Park, Mentor, Massillon Jackson, Elyria, Strongsville, John Marshall, Lorraine, Stowe, which has been struggling. Same can be said about Brunswick and Glen Oak. And meanwhile, with 0 points, Canton, McKinley, and Euclid. Of course, Euclid's lost 15 straight dating back to 2020. But of course, the one region that's probably the best region in the entire game, I don't mean to be biased as a Hornets announcer and Hornets fan, and Hornets alumni, but I'd have to go with the Division 2 Region 6. You got the Highland Hornets. You got what I like to call the Three Amigos, like that old movie. The Highland Hornets plus Avon plus Toledo Central Catholic. And of course, there they are right there. Of course, Highland, the good guys, are number 1. Avon is number 4. And Toledo Central Catholic is tied for 6, which is kind of hard to believe out there. And I just hope, here's what I hope. I hope the Hornets can be the number 1 seed, hang on to the number 1 seed, which is what it looks like they're going to do. And hopefully Avon's the number 2 seed, and hopefully Central Catholic's the 3 seed. Because if that happens, we can dodge Avon and Central Catholic up until the region finals. I think we can beat all the schools in Region 6 except those two. Those two schools really scare me. Central Catholic, of course, pulled off a huge upset against us last year. And, of course, Avon typically has our number every year in the Division 2 Region 6 playoffs. But anyways, that's what's going on. Of course, you can find them on the OHSAA website. You can find it on Joe Idle's website. He does a great job with high school football calculations and stuff. So yeah, there is that. That's the end of the show now. Be sure to subscribe to Tommy Maroon Sports Live because Friday night it's going to be Highland Barberton on my YouTube channel. Should be fun at Sharkey Stadium. Till then, I'm Tommy Maroon here. So long, everybody.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.